Hi folks, welcome to another episode of Handicapped Not Helpless. I'm Danny and this is my dog Daisy. She's tired, we've been out today. The reason I titled this video, I had to mourn my own death in order to survive, is because that's exactly what I did. In 2008 when I had this stroke, I was 54 years old. Up until that time, I knew myself as one person. Others knew me as what they saw of me. And that day, everything changed. Everything changed. The person that I was between the time I was born and the age of 54 was gone. He was gone and he was never coming back. And so that's why I say that I died that night. Because for all intents and purposes, for my wife of 30 years, her husband was dead. I wasn't the same person I was the night before. And so now I wake up the next morning and I've got this body that is foreign to me. You may as well have taken my brain and implanted it in a foreign body because I couldn't control it. I had no idea how I was going to do this. Before in my life, before the age of 54, I was a musician. I had my own band. I had a construction business. That was a business that I started. And I had control of everything in my life. I controlled who played in the band, what musicians I owned, what bookings what venues we played, all that stuff. When I had the construction business, I decided what jobs I would take, who I would hire, and everything in my life was in my control. Overnight, everything in my life was gone. I had no control. I had no control of what I did. I had no control of where I went. I didn't even have control of my own body functions. Now that's a big drop. If you're stranded in a snowstorm up on a mountain somewhere, and no one's ever going to be able to come and find you, you have to survive on your own. You may be on a boat out in the middle of the ocean stranded. No one's going to save you. You can figure on it, and you have to start figuring for yourself. So what you do is, if you're in a snowstorm somewhere, you look in your glove box, you look in the trunk, you look under the car, you look everywhere to see what you have that you can survive, help you survive until tomorrow. And then tomorrow, if things hasn't changed, you look and see what you can help you survive until the next day, and so on, until you figure out how you're going to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I still don't know half the time. It's still day to day for me. And the left side of my body is not totally paralyzed, as in, like hanging there. My shoulder dropped down. I keep my arm up on here when I'm filming so I can kind of look halfway square. My shirts don't fit me and all that. But if you would take and draw a line straight down my forehead, down my nose, down the rest of my body, the left side of my body is numb. The right side is numb. To the point that the right side of my nose is not numb, the left side is. And my brain don't recognize the left side of my body for the most part. There's no sense of time and space as it concerns my left side. In other words, if I, on my right side, if I want to touch my ear, I touch it. On my left side, if I go touch my ear, I can't, it ain't there. If I touch my eye here, I can touch the corner of my eye. I'll touch it over here, no, I'm guessing at it. I can touch the inside of my nose here. I touch the inside of my nose over here. You see, the corner of my mouth, that's pretty close. But anyway, and then there's a strange thing. A lot of times, in the middle of the night, of course I live by myself, me and my dog, my arm will come and start moving across my body while I'm asleep. And when it crosses over that line onto my side of my body, I can feel. I panic slightly because it feels like somebody else is putting their arm around me. So I don't have sense of what's going on that side of my body. But Well, the reason I grieved my own death was, and I didn't realize I was doing it until later when I look back on it. I think that first you have to go through the grieving process. You know, at first you don't believe it's happening. You don't understand it. Especially with a stroke, I was confused. My mind was all messed up for at least a week, even longer than that. And then you go into the next stage of mourning, which is you want to blame somebody, you know. And so, I mean, I blamed my wife. I blamed the nurses. I blamed the doctors. I blamed Jesus Christ. I yanked this crucifix off my neck and threw it against the wall. And I was just bawling and saying, cussing God out, you know, like it was his fault or something. But it wasn't. So you have to go through these stages. And I realized that I was mourning my own death later, looking back on it. Because you go through those feelings, and then it's just like if you have a parent die or somebody really close to you. You go through a whole range of emotions that you have to deal with. And I've dealt with those exact same emotions without really realizing it at the time, you know. So you have to allow yourself to go through the mourning process if you're ever going to get past it. And so the best thing that I can say is just allow it to happen. Of course, you can't force it to happen, but just allow it to happen and go through the grieving process. And you can get on the other side of it just like you do when somebody close to you dies. And this is my new normal. The normal that I was back then was being a musician and running construction businesses and stuff like that. But this is my new normal. And I'm happy with who I am and the abilities that I have. I'm truly consider myself to be very lucky to be able to do what I can do. I drive myself. I live alone. I do all of the chores around the house, and you can look at some other videos on here, and you can see where I put in driveway patios. I fixed my wheelchair ramp that I didn't use it. It was just on the back deck, but I fixed it by myself. I do my own laundry. I do my own cooking, my own shopping. Daisy and I just got back from the store. And you can do whatever you want to do if you set your mind to it, you know. But once you get a defeatist attitude, then you're pretty much done, you know. Anytime there's a situation where it's a survival situation, whether it be, as I said, out on a boat in the ocean or if you're stranded in a snowstorm, there's two types of people. The ones that the retrievers go in and find the bodies and bring the bodies out. Then there's the ones that you hear this amazing story and it's all over the news and everything, where this person walked 50 miles or whatever in snow up to your knees and all the bitter cold, or when he spent 45 days or 60 days on a boat just going around in circles out in the ocean because he wanted to survive. You don't give up. Once you give up, you just might as well watch the buzzards come in and start circling, because that's what's going to happen. Just fight, you know. But up to the point I don't feel like I'm fighting at all anymore, because this is my new normal. I'm determined, I'm hard-headed, and those hard-headed things actually came in pretty handy at this stage of my life. Leaves your life, whether it's through death or if it's through divorce from being married many years. You go through a mourning process. And a lot of people come out of a divorce being just downright bitter. You know, just eat your face off. Downright bitter. And I think that the reason that a lot of people come out bitter like that is because they're still in the part of the mourning process where you're mad at everybody. So I didn't want to drag anybody down, but I just wanted to try to encourage you to let you know that there's an end to this process. You know, it's going to happen, you're going to go through it, and everything's going to come out okay. And it's just going to take a little bit of time. So don't get too discouraged. Go ahead and feel what you need to feel, but try not to get too discouraged. And just let it happen, and you'll come out the other side. And right now I've got a good life. I'm happy, and it'll happen to you too. Just hang in there. I want you to reach down there and punch that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, if you got anything out of it. And also, you can ring that little bell over there, dingity ding, ring that little bell. And then when I post my next video, you'll get a notice saying I post. And for some of you are afraid to subscribe because you're thinking you're subscribing to something that, like a magazine or something. That's not what it is. It's the same as when you friend somebody on Facebook. It don't cost you nothing. Or whenever you do whatever you do on Instagram, on Twitter, you don't have to pay anything. You're not buying a subscription. Okay, subscribing is another word for friending or following. That's all. And so I appreciate you checking in here. And Dan and Miss Daisy, just remember, we're handicapped, but we ain't helpless. Here's a motto for today. Whether you believe that you can do a thing, or whether you believe you cannot do that thing, you're right. Thanks. See you next time.